Think about this for a moment. Who is the one person that's been with you in every single moment of your life, who has seen your brightest smiles? And also, the nights you broke down in silence, not your friends, not your partner, not even your parents. That person is you. So why is it that through an entire lifetime, we so often forget to love and respect ourselves? We live in a noisy world. The moment we open our eyes, pressure hits us. Unread emails, meetings waiting, expectations from everyone around us. All day long, the world demands more. Your time, your energy, your attention. And before you know it, you've drifted away from the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. The ancient Greeks, the Stoic philosophers, they understood a truth we keep forgetting. Loving yourself is not selfish. It's a discipline. It's an art of living. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts toward yourself are filled with love, you grow stronger. If they're filled with doubt and criticism, you shrink, you break. Ask yourself, how many times have you felt exhausted in a relationship simply because you didn't dare say no? How many times did a single insult shatter your confidence like glass cracking in an instant? How many times did you beg for attention from people who never really saw your worth? That's what happens when self-love is missing. When you forget the most important discipline of all, respecting yourself first. What changes when you truly love yourself? A different kind of strength appears, a quiet strength, not loud, not showy, but unshakable. You stop chasing comparisons. You stop living on the opinions of others. You stand firm, at peace, because you know your true worth. Imagine this, a life where you no longer beg for recognition on the outside because you've learned to generate light from within. A life where you no longer bow to heavy expectations but walk your own path with quiet confidence. If today you feel tired, if your heart is still waiting for someone else to finally give you the love you've been longing for, let me remind you, you are the one who must give it first. Not tomorrow, not when you're good enough, not when someone else finally admits your value, but right now. The Stoics left us timeless wisdom, and from that wisdom, I want to invite you on a journey. 10 practices to learn how to love yourself. And before we begin, remember this: life is finite. Every day you don't love and respect yourself is a day you hand the power over your happiness to someone else. But you can take it back. You can choose the thoughts that will dye your soul. You can choose a life where you don't just exist, but live with confidence, peace, and inner strength. So right now, do one small thing. Say it out loud, or write it down in the comments. I choose to love myself first. That's not just a sentence. It's the first commitment on your journey to becoming the strongest version of yourself. And if you're ready to walk with me through these 10 practices, hit subscribe so we can grow our inner strength together, one step at a time. Because in the end, no one else can decide whether you deserve love. And I'm here to remind you of this simple truth. You are worthy. Completely worthy. Now let's step into the very first practice of today. Part 1. Stop trying to please everyone. Let me ask you something. How many times in your life have you forced a smile, nodded yes, while deep inside, your heart was screaming, no? How many times have you done something not because you wanted to, but because you were afraid of letting someone down, afraid of being rejected, afraid of being left behind. And then, did you notice how exhausted you felt, as if you were just a side character in your own life story? Lao Tzu once said, "If you care too much about what others think, you will always be their prisoner." That truth hits hard. Because here's the reality. Trying to please everyone is not kindness. It is abandoning yourself. Picture this. You're standing on a boat. Instead of keeping it steady, you keep jumping overboard, trying to rescue everyone else who's shouting for help. But in the end, when you're too tired to swim, there's no one left to pull you out. Epictetus reminded us, if you want to improve, be willing to be thought foolish. It sounds harsh, but that's the price of freedom. Because if you live by the eyes and judgments of others, you'll never hear the quiet call of your own soul. Most of the time, it's fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of being disliked. Fear of standing alone. But here's the hard truth. Every time you nod yes while your heart says no, you're betraying yourself. And that betrayal, repeated over and over, becomes a wound. A wound that slowly eats away at your self-respect. You feel drained. You feel empty. You lose connection with who you really are. And you can no longer tell the difference between your true voice and the mask you wear. First, learn to say no without guilt. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe an apology for choosing peace over pressure. Second, speak your truth, even if it's different, even if it makes others uncomfortable, because your value is not measured by their agreement, but by your honesty with yourself. Third, choose inner peace over other people's convenience. Some won't understand. Some may even leave. But remember this. Those who truly respect you will respect your boundaries too. Every time you say no to something that drains you, you're laying a brick in the foundation of your inner home. Brick by brick, that home becomes a safe place, a place where you can return and breathe deeply. But every time you try to please everyone, you remove a brick. And soon, the house collapses. And there you are, standing in the storm with no shelter. I know. It's not easy to stop pleasing people. Sometimes it's the very strategy we learned as children, the way we thought we'd earn love, earn acceptance. But as adults, that strategy becomes a chain, and you cannot fly if you're still bound by invisible chains. You were not born to make everyone else happy. You were born to live a life that is true, peaceful, and meaningful. Every time you choose yourself over approval, you send a message: I matter. I have value. I am worthy. So right now, whisper it to yourself or write it in the comments as a commitment. I will not betray myself just to please others. Every time you say it, you're breaking another link from the invisible cage. And with each link that falls away, you step closer to freedom. If you want to continue this journey with me, this journey of building inner strength through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe. Because together, we won't just learn how to live. We'll learn how to live true, to live strong, and to live free. Part 2. Talk to yourself. Like a best friend. Imagine this for a moment. Your best friend walks up to you. Their eyes are red, their voice is shaking, and they whisper, I feel worthless. I feel like a failure. I don't deserve anyone. What would you say? Would you look at them and say, you're right? You'll never get anything right, or would you sit down beside them, place a gentle hand on their shoulder, and whisper back, "It's okay." You're still learning. You're stronger than you realize. So tell me this honestly. Why is it that we often save the harshest words? For ourselves, Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." He was right, because the words we repeat to ourselves over and over are the very brushstrokes that paint our self-worth. The problem is, too often we let our minds soak in dark colors. I always fail. I'm not good enough. I'll never measure up. Day after day, those words cling to us like dirt. And little by little, we start to believe they're true. But here's the truth. That cruel voice in your head, it's not really you. It comes from old criticism you once heard, from comparisons society threw at you, from the rejections and judgments that scarred your memory. You absorbed them, but they are not your real voice. Your real voice is the voice of the best friend you've never allowed yourself to have. A voice full of love, full of patience, full of strength. It starts with small shifts. When you hear, "I always fail," change it to, "I'm still learning." When you think, "I hate my body," say instead, "I'm grateful this body lets me live, breathe, and move." When you slip and say, "I'm so stupid," whisper, "I made a mistake and I'm learning from it." It may seem small, but each time you do this, you are re-dyeing your soul with colors of love and strength. Think of your mind as a garden. If every day you scatter seeds of negativity, it won't be long before weeds take over. But if each day you plant a few seeds of kindness, soon green shoots will rise. And before long, that garden will bloom. And you'll want to live inside it instead of trying to escape from it. I know what you might be thinking, but I can't just change the voice in my head overnight. And you're right. No one can. But remember this. Every single phrase you whisper to yourself is a brick that either builds a strong home inside you or tears it down. So the question is, which brick will you lay today? Step 1. Notice. When you hear that negative voice, don't just accept it. Pause. Ask, is this really me? Step 2, replace. Trade criticism for compassion. Step 3, affirm. Say it out loud, write it down, whisper it to yourself, "I am worthy, I have potential, I am growing every day." Each affirmation is a seed, and you are the gardener. You spend your entire life talking to yourself. No one hears that inner voice more than you. So, will that voice be your enemy or your closest ally? Remember this. Every time you choose to speak with love and strength, you are building a soul that is confident, calm, and unshakable. So right now, write this in the comments or whisper it softly as a promise to yourself. I talk to myself with love and strength. Each time you say it, you plant another seed in the garden of your mind. And tomorrow, when you wake, you'll begin again. A beginning not dyed in criticism, but in hope, in love, and in true inner strength. And if you're ready to keep walking this journey with me, this journey of learning to love yourself through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe. Because together, we won't just learn how to live, we'll learn how to live as our own best friend. Part 3. Treat your body like a temple. Let me ask you this. If the only house you were ever allowed to live in started to crack, the roof leaking, the walls peeling, what would you do? Would you care for it, repair it, or ignore it until it collapsed? Your body is that house, the sacred temple your soul calls home. The question is, have you truly treated it that way? Socrates once said, "It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable." He wasn't just talking about muscles or appearance. He was talking about reverence. Your body is not just bones, flesh, and skin. It is the sacred dwelling place of your life. It is the foundation of every dream, every achievement. Without a healthy body, every goal, every success becomes fragile. But today, in this modern world, we treat our bodies like machines. We push them to exhaustion. We fuel them with cheap, toxic quick fixes. We steal from our sleep as if rest were a waste of time. And then we wonder, why am I so drained? Why is my mind foggy, anxious, and restless? Why do I feel empty, even when I achieve more? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What harms the hive harms the bee. What you do to your body will eventually wound your soul." So how do you honor your body like a temple? Eat to nourish, not to numb. Choose food that gives you energy. Don't turn meals into a way to bury boredom or stress. Move every day, not to punish your body for how it looks, but to celebrate life. Dance, walk, lift, stretch, or simply breathe deep and reach toward the sky. Prioritize sleep, because in sleep, your body repairs, your brain restores, and your heart rests. Detox, not just from junk food, but from stress, drama, and toxic environments. Sometimes, the best cleanse isn't a green juice, it's an afternoon without your phone. It's a slow walk through the park. Think of your body as an ancient temple. Every healthy meal wipes the dust from its statues. Every workout lights a candle in its sanctuary. Every good night's sleep closes the heavy doors, so it can rest in quiet safety. And every time you do these things, you send yourself a powerful message: I am worthy of care. I am worthy of love. I know you're busy. You have work. You have family. You have responsibilities. But remember this: if you collapse, everything else collapses with you. You cannot raise your children. You cannot chase your dreams. You cannot love anyone fully if you no longer have your health. Health is not a luxury. It is the foundation. Taking care of your body is your declaration to life itself. I honor the chance to be alive. So pause for a moment. Look at your hands that have worked without rest. Listen to your heartbeat faithfully keeping rhythm day and night. This body has been with you since the moment you were born, and it will walk with you until your very last breath. The question is, will you keep neglecting it until it cries out for help? Or will you begin treating it as the sacred temple it truly is? Right now, whisper it or write it in the comments below as your promise. I treat my body like a temple. That single sentence is the first brick in rebuilding the foundation for your health, your peace, and your long-term joy. And if you're ready to continue this journey with me, the journey of learning to love yourself through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe. Because there is so much more we will discover together. Not just how to survive, but how to live fully, how to live strong, how to live whole. Part 4. Accept what's beyond your control. Picture this: you're standing in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, rain lashes your face, trees bend and break around you. Can you command the storm to stop? Can you tell the wind to calm, the rain to cease? Of course not. But you can choose to take shelter. You can choose to keep your peace in the middle of the storm. The question is, why do we spend so much time, energy, and even happiness trying to control storms we can never stop. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, left us a truth so simple, yet so powerful. Some things are up to us. Some things are not. It sounds obvious. But if you look closely, you'll see most of the suffering we carry comes from trying to control what was never ours to control. Think about it. You worry about the past, but no amount of regret will turn back the clock. You get angry about what others think of you. But their thoughts, they don't live in your hands. You despair when a job is lost, when illness strikes, when a door slams shut. But once it has happened, it's no longer yours to change. And every time you cling to these things, you hand away your power. Self-love is not just care. It's not just kind words to yourself. Self-love is letting go. Letting go of what lies beyond your reach so your soul can remain at peace. Every time you whisper to yourself, "This is not mine to carry. I choose peace," you're doing something courageous. You're reclaiming control from what once enslaved you. Take a piece of paper, draw 2 columns. Column 1, what I can control. Column 2, what I cannot. In column 1, write my actions, my responses, my discipline, my mindset. In column 2, write the past, other people's thoughts, sudden events, the weather luck. And whenever worry, anger, or fear rises, look at the paper. If it belongs in column 2, remind yourself, "This is not mine to carry. I choose peace." Think of your soul as a backpack. Every time you clutch something beyond your control, you add a stone to that pack. 1 stone, then 2, until it grows so heavy you can hardly walk. But each time you release one, you drop a stone, and slowly, step by step, you feel lighter, freer, able to move again. I know, it's easier said than done. We're used to gripping tightly. We're used to control, to effort, to forcing. Letting go feels like failure, but the truth is, it isn't. Letting go is not surrender. It is a conscious choice. The courage to face reality and whisper, "I will not let this steal my peace anymore." You cannot stop the storms from coming, but you can choose how you take shelter. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can choose how you walk in the present. Every time you release what is not yours to control, you send yourself a powerful message. I am worthy of freedom. I am worthy of peace. So right now, do one small thing. Write it in the comments, or whisper it quietly to yourself. I choose to let go. I choose peace. Every time you write that sentence, you lay one heavy stone down. And step by step, your load grows lighter. And if you're ready to keep walking this journey with me, the journey of learning self-love through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe. Because one day you'll look back and realize the storms still rage out there, but inside, you've built a sky of peace. Part 5, Kill the Comparison Game. Have you ever woken up on a peaceful morning, your mind clear, your heart at ease, but then just a few minutes scrolling through social media, and suddenly you feel small, not enough, falling behind? One photo, one story, one perfect little highlight from someone else's life, and the joy you felt just moments ago disappears. Why is that? Why do we so easily hand over our happiness to screens, to fragments of someone else's unfinished story? Lao Tzu once said, "When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you." Simple words, but sharp like an arrow. Because comparison is the silent thief of joy. It doesn't roar. It doesn't strike loudly. It seeps in quietly, stealing your peace bit by bit, day after day. The truth about comparison, Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who always craves more." Every time you look at someone else's life and crave what they have, you forget the blessings already in your hands. Comparison pulls you off your own path. You forget that each step you take, no matter how small, is still progress. Instead, your eyes fix on someone else's finish line, and you whisper, "Why not me? Why am I not there yet?" But think about it. Do you really know what lies behind that perfect picture? Do you see the nights they collapsed in exhaustion, the tears no one else witnessed? Or do you only see the glossy surface, the version they chose to share? A truth you need to remember: comparison is instinct. Our brains are wired to measure ourselves in the tribe. That reflex once helped our ancestors survive. But today, in a world of endless feeds and constant images, it's become a burden. The good news is, you can retrain your mind. You can choose not to be a victim of this game. How to break free from comparison. Step 1. Recognize it. When you catch yourself comparing, pause and ask, "Can I replace this feeling with gratitude?" Step 2. Redefine success. Not everyone dreams the same dream. Some chase fame. You may crave peace. Some want wealth. You may value freedom. So why would you use their ruler to measure your life? Step 3. Limit social media. If every time you pick up your phone, you leave feeling less than, cut back. Instead of drowning in someone else's highlight reel, focus on building your real story. Step 4. Celebrate your own progress. Write it down. Even the smallest step. A new habit. A day of persistence. A fear you faced. When you look back and see how far you've come, comparison loses its grip. Imagine you're running on a track. Each person has their own lane. If you keep looking left and right, you'll trip and fall in your own. But if you look forward, if you focus on each step, you'll realize this race was never against anyone else. It was always against yourself. I know. Comparison feels natural, but natural doesn't mean inevitable. Every time you choose gratitude over comparison, you reclaim your power. Every time you celebrate a small win, you remind yourself your journey is unique. And every time you whisper, "My journey is mine alone," you kill the comparison game with your own strength. Your life is not a copy of anyone else's. It is a rare original, a masterpiece in progress. Every time you compare, you rob yourself of the chance to admire that beauty. But every time you return to yourself, you take one step closer to freedom. So right now, write this down in the comments or whisper it softly to yourself. My journey is mine. I grow at my own pace. That is not just a sentence, it's a release, a declaration of freedom. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, the path of learning to love yourself through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe. Because we're not just learning to stop looking sideways, we're learning to look forward, to look inward, to walk the one path that has always been yours. Part 6. Learning to love. Solitude. Be honest with me. How do you really feel when you're alone? Comfortable or anxious, peaceful or empty? You know that feeling, don't you? The room is too quiet. The phone screen stays dark, and you don't know what to do except search for something to fill the silence. Have you ever wondered, why are we so afraid of being alone? And what if I told you, learning to love solitude is actually the path to freedom? Seneca once wrote, "He who fears loneliness fears freedom." Strange words at first, but think about it. We often run from silence. we run toward noise, toward social media, movies, endless chatter. Because when we're truly alone, we're forced to face ourselves. And for many people, that is scarier than any empty room. There are two kinds of solitude. One kind makes you feel hollow, but the other, intentional solitude, heals you. It builds inner strength. It's like cleaning a cluttered kitchen. At first it feels messy, uncomfortable. But as you clear each shelf wipe, each counter, the space becomes brighter, lighter, and eventually you want to stay there. The same happens when you sit with yourself. You clear the mental clutter. You hear the forgotten parts of your soul, and you discover a peace the outside world can never give you. Spend time alone. Take a slow walk. No headphones. Read a book in silence. Write in a journal just to hear your inner voice. Create a space that feels joyful. Light a candle. Play music you love. Cook a meal not for anyone else, but for you. Notice your emotions. At first, the quiet may feel uncomfortable, but let it pass, because underneath the unease, there is a deeper calm waiting. When you learn to enjoy your own company, something powerful happens. You no longer cling to toxic relationships just to fill the void. You step into the world whole, not lacking. You don't need to beg for value because you already carry it within you. And when you love yourself enough to be alone, the love you give others becomes purer, freer, unchained from fear or dependency. I know, being alone isn't always easy. Sometimes solitude bites. Sometimes the silence echoes with hard questions. But stay patient. It's like sitting in a dark room. At first, you can't see anything, but your eyes adjust. And then you realize the dark isn't as frightening as you thought. It's just space for you to notice the light inside. Think of solitude like charging a battery. If you keep your phone plugged in constantly, it overheats. The battery weakens. But when you unplug, when you let it rest and recover, it becomes stronger, longer, lasting. Your soul works the same way. Silence is the charger that renews your inner life. You could spend your whole life chasing the crowd, terrified of silence. Or you could learn to sit still, smile at yourself, and realize I enjoy my own company. That's not just an affirmation. It's a declaration of freedom. So right now, say it out loud or write it in the comments as a promise to yourself. I enjoy my own company. That will be your first step toward true peace. And if you want to continue this journey with me, this journey of learning to love yourself through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe. Because here, we won't just learn how to live. We'll learn how to live fully, freely, and at peace, from the inside out. Part 7. Practicing radical gratitude. Have you ever had a day like this? Everything feels fine. Nothing's really wrong. And then one small thing happens. An email left unanswered, a careless comment, a cold glance, and suddenly, your whole mood collapses. The good disappears. Why does the mind cling so tightly to what's missing instead of noticing what's already here? And what if the key to loving yourself wasn't in getting more, but in truly seeing what you already have? Seneca once said, "It is not because we have too little that we are unhappy, but because we are ungrateful for what we have." That line is like a mirror. It's not the world starving us. It's us starving our own hearts because we keep staring at what's missing. You scroll through social media. A friend is on vacation. Instead of savoring your peaceful morning, you sigh, "I wish I had that." You see a colleague praised. Instead of honoring your own effort, you whisper, "I'll never be good enough." And every time you do that, you drain your energy. You abandon the richness of the present to chase the illusion of lack. But here's the miracle. When you practice gratitude, your attention flips from lack to enough, from discontent to abundance. Gratitude doesn't change the outside world. It changes the eyes you use to see it. Every morning, write down at least 3 things you're grateful for. It could be health, family, a friend, or something smaller. Sunlight through the window, a hot cup of coffee, a fleeting smile. When hardship comes, ask yourself, what lesson is this teaching me? What part of this can I be grateful for? Even adversity can be a gift if you choose to see it that way. And don't forget gratitude for yourself, for the perseverance you've shown, for the kindness you've kept alive, for the small steps forward you usually forget to celebrate. Imagine your mind as a dark room. Every thought of comparison closes a door, but every word of gratitude, it lights a small lamp, one lamp, then another, until the whole room glows, and darkness has nowhere left to hide. I know. Some days, gratitude feels impossible. When you're exhausted, when everything feels like it's falling apart, when nothing seems to go your way. But it's on those very days that gratitude matters most, because gratitude doesn't deny the pain. It simply reminds you that even in darkness, stars are still shining. A truth to remember. Have you ever realized you're living the very thing someone out there is praying for? A roof over your head, a meal on the table, a body that still breathes. What you see as ordinary might be someone else's greatest dream. Gratitude isn't pretending life is perfect. It's choosing to see the value in life and in yourself exactly as it is. Every time you write down something you're grateful for, you're reminding yourself, I love myself, not because I'm perfect, but because I am alive, because I am growing every single day. So right now, do one small thing. Write 3 things you're grateful for in the comments below. And if you only choose one, let it be this: I am grateful that I am still here, and I am still growing. That's not just a sentence. That's a commitment, a quiet promise to your own soul. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, this journey of learning to love yourself through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe. Because when we learn to practice gratitude, we don't just find peace, we find freedom, moment by moment. Part 8. Nurturing silence and reflection. Picture this. You wake up in the morning, your phone lights up, notifications flood in, messages, emails, meetings, social media, and before you've even taken a single deep breath, the world has already taken over your mind. Do you feel like you're living that way? And if the answer is yes, let me ask you this. When was the last time you sat in stillness, just to listen to yourself? Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "Go inward. The inner mind is the strongest fortress." In a noisy world where everything competes for your attention, sometimes self-love is as simple as giving yourself a moment of silence, not to escape, but to restore, to listen, to return to that fortress within. When you sit in silence, no music, no screens, no distractions. At first, it's uncomfortable. Your mind will scream at you. Do something. Check your phone. Think about something. But if you're patient, the noise begins to fade. And beneath the chaos, another voice emerges. The voice of your inner self. The voice you've ignored for far too long. And there, you'll find answers the outside world can never give you. Every day, carve out just 10 to 15 minutes. No devices, no distractions, You can meditate, breathe slowly, or simply watch your thoughts drift by, like clouds in the sky. Keep a reflection journal. Write down what you've learned in a single day. It doesn't have to be long. Even one sentence is enough. Today I learned I am stronger when I am calm. Create small rituals, a quiet morning with a cup of tea, an evening with no devices, sitting by the window watching the moon. Those moments, they're the soul's breathing space. Think of your mind as a lake. When it's stirred, the surface ripples. You can't see the bottom. But when it grows still, the water clears, and everything becomes visible. Silence works the same way. When you nurture it, you finally see yourself clearly. You know who you are. You know what you truly need. I know. Modern life doesn't make silence easy. We're busy. Our calendars are full. Notifications never stop. But remember this. If you don't create space for yourself, no one will do it for you. If you don't stop to breathe, the world will never hand you a chance to breathe. You don't need a monastery, just a darkened room, a small corner with a plant, or simply closing your eyes and breathing deeply for 10 minutes. A truth to remember: silence is not a luxury. It's fuel. It's how you recharge your soul the way you plug in your phone each night. You can't live a powerful life if your heart and mind are always running on empty. Self-love isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's just the decision to sit still, to let your mind rest, to let your heart heal, to hear the inner voice, the one that already knows your worth and your way forward. Remember this: when I nurture silence, I understand myself. And when I understand myself, I love myself more deeply. So right now, make a small commitment. Write it in the comments or whisper it to yourself. I choose to make time for silence. That's the first seed you plant. Care for it and watch as strength and peace grow from it. And if you want to continue this journey with me, this journey of learning self-love through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe, because there are still many doors we'll open together, doors that will lead you back to the strongest fortress you'll ever know, your inner mind. Part 9. Pursuing goals that ignite your passion. Let me ask you this: are you truly living your life? Or are you just following a script someone else wrote for you? The degree you pursued, the job you took, the house you bought. Are they really your dreams? Or just tickets to earn other people's nods and approval? And what happens if one day you have it all, but inside you feel completely empty? Epictetus once said, "First, tell yourself who you want to be, then do what you must." Simple, yet heavy with truth. Because real self-love is not just self-care, not just kindness. It's the courage to live with goals that come from within, not pressure from the outside. In today's world, so many trade their youth for standards: a stable job, a high salary, a respected title. But every morning, their hearts still feel heavy, because no amount of external success can fill an internal void. Stoic wisdom reminds us, living for the expectations of others is just another form of slavery. You chain yourself to their eyes, their approval, and little by little you lose your freedom. Be honest. Have you ever achieved something others praised only to go home and feel completely empty inside? So the real question is, what is your path? Ask yourself, what excites me to my core? What makes me feel alive, even if no one pays me for it? If no one was watching, if no one was judging, what would I choose? The answers are there, deep inside. You just need the courage to look. Start with the right question. Don't ask, "What do others expect from me?" Ask, "What makes my life feel meaningful?" Start small. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow, but you can give 30 minutes a day to what makes you feel alive. Write, play music, train, paint, plant something. Stay disciplined, but don't burn out. Pursuing passion is not self-destruction. It's planting seeds, watering them with patience, and letting them grow in their own time. Now picture this. Inside you is a flame. If you live for others' expectations, you're only blowing weakly just to keep it from dying. But when you pursue what's true to your heart, you fan that flame into a blazing fire. And when you burn bright from within, the whole world feels your heat and your light. I know, Mao. Sometimes you're afraid to choose wrong, afraid to fail, afraid of being laughed at. But remember this, failing on your own path is worth 1,000 times more than succeeding on a borrowed one. Because at least then, you live true. A truth to remember. Life is like a compass. If the direction doesn't come from you, you'll always be lost, no matter how fast you walk. Only when you follow where your heart points will every step truly matter. Life is short. You can spend it chasing other people's approval, or you can spend it chasing what sets your heart on fire. Every time you choose your true passion, you're declaring, "I love myself enough to live true to who I am." So right now, make a small commitment. Write it in the comments as a promise to yourself, "I pursue the goals that set me on fire." Don't just listen, write it down. Because that small act will be your first step, your first promise to your own soul. And if you're ready to continue this journey with me, this journey of self-love through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe. Because the next step might just be the most important one of all, learning to celebrate every victory, no matter how small, on the path of becoming your truest self. Part 10. Celebrate every victory, no matter how small. Ask yourself this. When was the last time you truly praised yourself? Not for a big achievement, not for some grand success, but for something small: waking up on time, finishing a task you'd been avoiding, or simply smiling at yourself in the mirror. Or maybe you've been so busy picking apart your mistakes, you've forgotten just how far you've already come. Robert Brault once wrote, "Enjoy the little things. For one day you may look back and realize they were the big things." But sadly, most of us do the opposite. We dismiss our progress. We obsess over our flaws. We rush to stare at the peak of the mountain and forget to celebrate each step that got us here. Think about it. You do something good and whisper, "Not enough." You survive a hard day and think, "Well, anyone could have done that." You stay disciplined for weeks, but one small mistake is enough to make you erase all your effort. Sound familiar? In this way, you become the harshest judge of yourself. But here's the truth. To love yourself fully, you must learn how to applaud yourself, not only when the big victories arrive, but in the small everyday wins. Getting out of bed without hitting snooze, replacing self-criticism with one kind thought, not giving up even when the day felt impossibly heavy. Every one of those moments is a victory, and each one deserves to be celebrated. Write down 3 things you did well today: finishing a task, listening to a loved one, or simply taking one deep breath when you felt stressed. Stand in front of the mirror and say gently, Today, I did my best, and I'm proud of that. Reward yourself when you reach a milestone. It doesn't need to be extravagant. Maybe it's a hot latte, a new book, or a quiet walk outside. Every time you celebrate, you send a powerful message to your mind: I'm growing. I'm making progress. I deserve recognition. And this does more than motivate you. It nurtures joy. It reduces the need for outside applause. You don't need anyone else to clap for you because you've learned how to stand tall and clap for yourself. And when that happens, growth is no longer a grueling climb. It becomes a journey filled with moments of happiness. Imagine this. You're hiking a trail that stretches for miles. If you only allow yourself to feel joy when you reach the very end, you'll exhaust yourself, burn out, maybe even quit. But if you pause to admire the view, to celebrate each milestone along the way, suddenly the journey feels lighter, more meaningful, more alive. Life is exactly the same. Joy isn't only at the distant summit. It's in every step you choose to honor. I know. Many people fear that celebrating too much will make them complacent. But the truth is the opposite. Acknowledging your growth builds sustainable momentum, not arrogance. It creates a healthy confidence, one that doesn't depend on anyone else because it comes from within. Self-love doesn't mean waiting until you're perfect. It begins with this recognition: I am progressing. I am growing. So remember this: I celebrate my growth every single day. Right now, make a small promise to yourself. Write it in the comments, or say it out loud: I celebrate my growth every single day. Let that affirmation transform your journey from draining and exhausting to joyful and empowering. From chasing success to living in the happiness of every step. And if you're ready to continue walking this path with me, this path of learning to love yourself through Stoic wisdom, hit subscribe. Because this is only the beginning. And there are so many victories ahead, small and big, waiting for you to celebrate. Imagine this. There is someone who has been with you every single moment of your life. They've seen you laugh out loud. They've seen you cry alone in front of the mirror. They've witnessed every victory, every failure, every sleepless night. That person is not your friends, not your partner, not even your parents. That person is you. The question is, have you truly loved and honored that person? We often think self-love is a luxury, something we save for when we have free time. Or worse, we mistake it for selfishness. But the truth is, self-love is not a luxury. It is not selfish. It is a daily discipline. Every day, you stand at a crossroads with dozens of choices. You choose how to think. You choose how to act. You choose your goals. You choose your boundaries. And every time you choose yourself, choosing kindness over criticism, rest over burnout, honesty over pretending, you are training the discipline of self-love. And little by little, those choices build real strength. I know there will be days you forget, days when you compare yourself, days when you chase approval, days when you tear yourself down. But what matters is not how many times you fall. What matters is how many times you return to kindness, to patience, to compassion. Because self-love is not a perfect destination. It is a journey of steps forward, of scars, and of starting over again and again. Think of yourself as a garden. Each time you choose to honor yourself, you plant a seed of patience, a seed of discipline, a seed of kindness. There will be storms. Some days those seeds may seem gone, But when the sun returns, they sprout, and soon the whole garden comes alive. Or think of yourself as a lighthouse. Each time you choose yourself, you light the lamp. And no matter how fierce the storm, that light will always guide you home. Self-love will not make you perfect. It will make you authentic. A person who knows their limits, who knows their dreams, who knows their true path. And from that truth, you radiate a strength no one can take away. A strength that doesn't come from the gaze of others, but from your own steady choice, day after day, hour after hour, moment after moment. Here's the reminder. You can love the world. You can love your work. You can love your family. But if you abandon yourself, all those other loves will always stand on shaky ground. So remember, this self-love is not a one-time decision. It is a way of life, a discipline built through the thoughts you choose, the actions you take, the goals you pursue, and the boundaries you set. There will be hard days. There will be times you feel lost. But each time you return to kindness and patience, you reaffirm this truth. I am worthy. I have value. I am stronger than I think. So right now, whisper it to yourself. Or write it in the comments as a promise to your journey. I love myself more than ever before. Let that phrase become the lantern that lights your path forward. And if you want to keep walking with me to dive deeper into Stoic wisdom, to build a life of peace, strength, and freedom, hit subscribe. Because this is not the end. This is only the beginning of a journey that only you can write.